Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, welcome to another market outlook. Today is June 25th, and I am your host, Maverick, Live Like Mav on Instagram. We're going to be doing our weekly market outlook. We're going to be diving into, what happened last week, what news events we could be looking forward to, so we can have an idea for how the market is going to be moving this week, right? So thank you for tapping in with the Traders Guild. Go ahead and like and subscribe so that you can, continue to stay tapped in with these videos. And if you get some value from this thing, just go ahead and comment, let us know, how you feeling. All right. And if you have any questions or anything of that nature, all right, we'll go ahead and dive into this thing. And of course, our disclaimer letting everybody know that this is not to be taken as investing advice. Everything that we are going over today is for educational purposes only, general information purposes only. And past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results, right? So don't want anybody, anybody who's promising you anything is going to happen for you is not, it's not a good look. All right. So just be aware of that. But first and foremost, of course, before we hit the charts, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the economic calendar. So we have an idea of when we can expect some liquidity in the markets this week. Last week we had a pretty good week. Let me do a recap of last week real quick on here as well. So last week was what, the 20th through the 20th through the 24th. So let's go ahead and do that. So yeah, last week I did have a mishap last week. I said Juneteenth wasn't going to be a bank holiday. I apologize. It was a bank holiday. It just isn't listed. It's listed as a federal holiday here, not a bank holiday, or as a regular holiday, not a bank holiday. So we did end up having that be a bank holiday last week. However, the markets were actually pretty fluid on Monday. Just to be honest with you. However, Tuesday we did see a bit of consolidation, but for the most part, we saw bullish dollar numbers throughout the week, but that's not really, what it is that I want to pay attention to, as well as we actually tuned in to Federal Chairman Powell speaking throughout the week this week live in the server. And as we anticipated last week, we did see the dollar trade down into a higher time frame premium level, right? So we did see sells at the beginning of the week. And then once they reached that level, we did go ahead and see the dollar go bullish to end off the week, right? So we pretty much saw the week play out the way that we anticipated as far as the dollar goes. And it wasn't nothing crazy as far as like CPI numbers, FOMC numbers. These are kind of the ideal types of news situations when it comes to liquidity in the market, right? But coming up to this week, we have coming tomorrow, let's see, tomorrow we have some medium impact news, but we don't really look to trade on Mondays. Mondays tend to be, either a false move or just weird in general. Sometimes indices can trade well on Mondays, but for the most part, especially when it comes to Forex, I just watch, right? And that's something that I definitely want to highlight today as we are talking, is just being able to tape read the market, right? And definitely back testing. And that's something I've been talking about with everybody in the server, right? Is just taking the time to actually back test. And of course, on a Monday, you can forward test. You can show up to the market. You can have an idea for what's going to happen, and you can do what's called tape reading, right? And that's where you're not actually pulling the trigger, but you are having some type of anticipation for what's going to happen in the markets. Maybe if you don't have time, maybe if you have an unreliable schedule, or you're busy, sometimes in the mornings or whatever the case is. You can kind of predict the night before and then check to see the next night if the market played out the way you anticipated. You feel me? So that's what we got coming on Monday, but we will be having the European Central Bank president speaking tomorrow afternoon. So that should bring some volatility. It looks like tomorrow Euro should have some volatility in the market. Tuesday, she's going to be speaking again at 4 a.m. And then we're also going to be having on Tuesday. Oh, I thought federal chairman was speaking, but he is not speaking on Tuesday. On Tuesday, we're also going to be having some high impact dollar news at 8 a.m., high impact dollar news at 8:30, and high impact dollar news at 10 a.m. I'm gonna be wary, right? So we're gonna check out the markets. We're gonna see what's going on. But sometimes when there's that many high impact news releases within the same session, weird stuff happens, right? So we'll be aware of that going into Tuesday's New York session, but we'll be in here, right? If you're a member of the server, we'll be, we trade live in those sessions, usually in there around 7:30 a.m., 8 a.m. So I'll see you there if you're able to hop on. And if you're watching the YouTube recording, you can click the link below so you can get access to trading with us live and seeing how we anticipate these markets going. But yeah, that's what we'll keep in mind. But building permits 8 a.m., durable good orders and new home sales and consumer confidence 10 a.m. So we can expect our kill zone to possibly extend to 11 a.m. on Tuesday if we see the markets trade into some type of premium or discount level going into Tuesday. All right. So Wednesday, we can see Wednesday is when Federal Chairman Powell is speaking. So Wednesday, we got Federal Chairman Powell. I'm tired of saying this man's whole name. We got Jerome Powell. We're gonna call this man Jerome. That's what we're gonna address him by his first name from now on. So Jerome is gonna be speaking 9:30 a.m. on Wednesday. So that should be interesting to see what he got going on. Again, we're gonna have a lot of Euro news during London session. I'm thinking I might start doing some London sessions live as if the markets are set up for it. The ideal times that London session is ideal. Brian, I know sometimes you be staying up for London session, so maybe this will help you. But the ideal times when it comes to anticipate something for London session, I've noticed, and I've seen it in my studies and my back testing as well, is when Asian session really consolidates. When we see accumulation during Asian session, sometimes we'll see that manipulation to maybe get the low of the week or the higher of the week during London. But you can always just wait for that New York kill zone. And that's what the Cavalier model is based on, is just waiting for New York session. Even if they do give a high of the week or low of the week during London on Wednesday or Tuesday, we can just catch the retracement going into New York session. So we got Jerome speaking 9:30 on Wednesday. High impact news at 8:30 as well. And then we got crude at 10:30, high impact. So potentially could see Wednesday extend to 11 a.m. as well. So we'll be aware of that. And then we got some evening news going all the way up until 4:30, so we can be aware of that. Sorry guys, forgive me. Now Thursday, Jerome Powell is speaking at 2:30 in the morning. I don't know what Jerome is going to be doing or who he's talking to at 2:30 a.m. on Thursday, but he is speaking 2:30 on Thursday, so we can anticipate that, bringing some volatility into the market, some liquidity into the markets at that time. And then CPI, German CPI, 8 a.m., GDP for US dollar, first quarter GDP. Interesting. I'm going to be dropping 8:30, and then initial jobless claims, pending home sales. It's a lot of high impact news this week. So we can definitely expect a lot of news events, right? A lot of news events. And this week will actually be the monthly close as well. So we'll go ahead and see what levels of liquidity the market might rush to deliver to before we get into July. Because next week is NFP, right? As you can see here, next week is NFP, and Tuesday of next week is Independence Day. So markets will be closed next Tuesday. Probably just stay away from the markets all together next Tuesday and Monday. And anticipate, coming into the markets, you can see on Wednesday of next week. So it's, this week, and just look to be done ahead of that Thursday news, right? Not even participating. So we'll see. NFP week next week probably will just won't even be it. So we'll see if we can see some high influence news this week, right? The one thing that I will point out that I forgot to mention, let me see if I can pull that up again. We pay attention to last week with, let's see if I could find it. Well, hold on. I know something's missing on my chart. Okay. I was like, where's the United Kingdom? That's why my chart was looking a little empty. I did not see any GBP news. That's not working. So yeah, last week we did see Bank of England release their interest rates last week, and as well as their CPI. So Bank of England CPI came out last week, and their inflation is still pretty high, sitting around that close to that 9% level at 8.7%. So they've been continuing to struggle with high inflation, whereas a lot of the other major economies have been seeing a decrease in inflation, and we saw them as well go ahead and raise their interest rates, not just by a quarter basis point. They raised it by an entire half a basis point, so from 4.5 to 5%, because they, of course, they're combating that. So we'll definitely, that's brought some strength, I guess you would say, into the markets when that was initially released. But again, they're still fighting that high inflation, so that's going to definitely affect them negatively as far as an economy goes. So now that I'm re-looking, because I didn't even have UK on here, it looks like we will be having some strong GBP news releasing on Friday, so we can keep that in mind. So other than that, nothing really changes from what I just went over. So let's go ahead and make our way over to the charts, man, and let's get busy. Let's get busy. Because I got a lot of stuff that I kind of want to go over. Like I said, I haven't had a chance to really dive into my analysis personally. Only been able to really start off on this higher time frame, on this monthly chart. So looking at the monthly chart, just seeing this last expansion that the markets have gone through. We are trading at, from this low that we had back in 2021, this entire range, we are trading into discount levels before this 50%. So we've been paying attention, of course, to this fair value gap that we've been trading into, and the market has respected that. And is, of course, trading away from that on a monthly level. And right now we are trading right at, I believe that is April's open. Yeah, we've been rejecting right away from April's open. So this is a key area. And this is what we talked about last week, was just seeing the markets trade down to that level and then kind of reject from there. Right now, I've been noticing just from like studying different people and doing a little bit of back testing, July and August tend to be really weird months in the market, slightly consolidative. So we'll go ahead. But the market's already been kind of just wavering in this area. So we'll anticipate, how that can go. But from where they're at right now, I'm looking to see if the market is going to, from here, like I said last week, I wanted to see them trade down to April open, which was pretty much this, right at that same 50% line right here was April's open. But I'm gonna go ahead and put a marker right there. And I'm gonna put this chart so that it stays on this time frame and above. But right here, we could see this was on April's open. April open right here. We can keep that in mind. Boom. And now as I go down to the weekly time frame, oh, okay. It definitely took away April's open. Let's see. View on all intervals. All right, cool. Yeah, so right here, we can see market dipped right down to that April open, which is a discount area, and then we got strong bullishness away from there. So just looking at that and looking at over the past few weeks here, like just looking at this, past drop, the premium areas that are catching my attention to pay attention to, for them to potentially target. Because of course, sellers are going to be in a premium from a discount. Buyers are going to be enticed. And I think, we came down to this discount area. We already identified April's open, came down into this order block on a daily time frame. We know there's an order block here, got a bit of a fair value gap, big old gap right here that we traded into. So I do see potentially the dollar seeking bullishness when it comes to the weekly time frame. Just looking at this, at this week. So let's go ahead and outline. We got this high here on a weekly buy side liquidity up here. Got that. And then I can see that we also have this juicy order block, but it's kind of right at that 50%. So I'm gonna leave that off until we go down to a lower time frame. But for right now, yeah, that's the closest thing that I'm not gonna worry about all up here. Clearly, you can see we have weekly buy side liquidity here. We can see that there's a bit of a fair value gap right here, but we'll pay attention to those as the market makes its way up there. For right now, I want to start to see premium levels get broken now that we've traded into a monthly discount. That's kind of like the way that, you know, I'm paying attention to it if I want to see the market start to go a bit bullish. Now going down to the daily time frame and just looking at these last 30 days or so, this same range that we were talking about, like I said last week, we traded down into this daily order block that we talked about last week, and I'm gonna go ahead and put it like this. Hold on, the AC is getting kind of high here. Yeah, right here, boom. Daily O block. Daily order block there. And we saw the market trade down into that level. And like we said, we're in a monthly discount, but also just looking at this last 30 days or so, that's a little bit more than 30 days, but either way, just looking at that, the range over the last, you know, those last from the open of May here, last 20 to 40 days, 30 to 40 days, we're down in a discount, and that discount area we paying attention to is this order block, this discount area. And then we saw them go ahead and give us bullishness away from there. So clearly, as the market is opening up, potentially want to see them dip down into these, you know, as we go lower, maybe down into this fair value gap right here, down into this order block here, and then see them target the highs, not the highs, well, highs here, but this fair value gap, this, what is that called? A liquidity void, you know, just void on liquidity right here, boom. So that kind of catches my attention. I think the proper term is a volume imbalance. That's the proper term. So we're gonna put that right there. So I want to pay attention to them trading up to that level. So I'm gonna put my little magnifying glass right there. I'm gonna go ahead and put a little equilibrium action here. Dang, it's really June 25th. That's crazy. All right, so like even if I was to go from the high down to this low right here, yeah, like somewhere up into that. And we'll go ahead and say, boom. And the reason I did it from the high to the low is because from up here in this high, that was like May 31st. So that is about that's about a 20 day. It's June 25th. Like I said, I ain't even, like, that's really crazy. But just, if we were just to pay attention to this range from this high to a low, like I said, either way it goes, we are at a discount, and I'm kind of paying attention to them coming up into above this line right here, which would be the 50% of all of that. All right, so I'm just paying attention to that, which is right inside the volume imbalance. So that, yeah, that's catching my attention. Yeah, that's catching my attention. And then of course with the weekly buy side liquidity up there, just to see, that's where I'm looking to see the monthly want to deliver to, as far as the monthly premium level would be up there. So that's what's got my attention right now on the dollar. So we can pay attention now to this section of time, this impulse move that we had here, and I want to see some sort of potential retracement down, and then an expansion that'll take us higher, especially coming down right again to April open after they gave that impulse last week. Kind of looked like a bit of a reversal setup that played out, because the open of last week was right. Yeah, we'll go based off midnight, of course. So last week was right here. was about to say that does not say. Oh, it's because it's inside of that gray box. Gotcha. And then this week we're right here now. We're gonna pay attention to how this starts off the week right here. All right, cool. So now that I'm looking at this on the 4-hour time frame, I could see this being that range from last week that we came up, traded higher above that order block, and this right here is my mitigation, my breaker block that I want to pay attention to. So we got this candle here that we can pay attention to right there, and this candle, right, this up candle here was what initiated the sell-off, right, that swept these lows before the market went ahead and traded higher. And then we're now targeting them trading back to kind of mitigate on this level, right, to come back to that or that same level of orders that they went ahead and gave. And if I could see that play out on Tuesday or Wednesday, then that would be really ideal for the dollar to go ahead and trade higher, and be in alignment with my bullish dollar bias. If not, then I'll have to reevaluate. But yeah, that's what I'm kind of seeing right now. Not really gonna pay attention. Like, I don't know if you guys can peep it, but there's kind of like a bit of an order block right here, right? But the market kind of already traded back to that with this candle right here from Thursday. Like, they traded above it, and then Thursday they traded back to it, and then they traded above, left this fair value gap, this volume imbalance right here. So in terms of resistance and discount right now, this is the level that I want to see them respect and hold before going ahead and trading higher. So on this ICE chart, it's about the 102, 260 area that I'm paying attention to. And then on this, on this chart here, it's about that 102.50 area on my, that's going to be my intraday chart that I'll be paying attention to. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm seeing. Let me go down to the hourly and we'll leave it at that, just so I can fix this to midnight. So that's midnight right there. This is last week's midnight right here. And the high of last week was actually, again, right there in that same level right here. That was the high. Oh no, I'm capping. I'm sorry. This was the high of last week. So yeah, and then looking to target at least the highs of last week would be smooth, right? So we could put like we could go ahead and put like a buy side liquidity sign right here. But overall, of course, this is that overall objective that I'm looking to see get targeted. So that's what I'm looking for on dollar. That's what I'm paying attention to on dollar. And I'll go ahead and put this like that. And I'll put it like this. I'll go ahead and take this and I'll put it in the server. I'll put that in there. All right, bet, Steve. I'll put that in there, and I'll also put it in the cancel. I'll also put it in the weekly watch list. Oh, but here go that dollar chart from last week. Yep, seen them trade up into that same level and drop down, sweep, and then that same exact level right here that I was looking at from last week is where they broke past and they left the order. They left the fair value gap. So that's really become an inverted fair value gap. I'll show you guys when we go back on that chart. And we'll put that right there. I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it. That's nice. And as far as, yeah, okay, boom, right here. So you see this is that same level right here that we was looking at last week, kind of like a fair value gap here. And then we saw them trade back to it here, right? And then they rejected from it, sold lower. That turned out to just be our breaker block to sweep these lows. You feel me? We saw them trade up to it here, that fair value gap. They rejected, sold lower, and all they did was sell lower to sweep these lows. And then from there, we saw impulse displacement into it, recovered the entire fair value gap, and now they're trading back down to the breaker. So yeah, that's the bullishness. That's what I'm looking for on bullish dollar this week. And so we'll anticipate that. Let's see what else we have news on this week. Am I all right? Cool. Just making sure we're recording. Let me come back in here so I can see any messages. All right, cool. Now looking at the news for this week. So we have a lot of euro news and we got some GBP news on Wednesday as well. Euro and GBP, not too much anything else. I probably don't have the CAD selected. That's probably why I ain't seeing no CAD news. Let me see. Yeah, gotta make sure I got my country selected. I know we got all type of favorites in here. Oh yeah, CAD gonna be, look at that. We got CAD CPI dropping this week, so we gotta pay attention to USDCAD. So we got CAD CPI dropping this week as well. I did not have my CAD selected. So we'll look at UCAD, we'll look at Euro USD, of course, baby NASDAQ. We'll look at gold. If y'all got anything else y'all want us to look at, participate, man. Talk to me. Excuse me. So let's look at USDCAD first. Let's look at USDCAD. Yeah, USDCAD was, yeah, that was, she was opening it up last week. Let's open up another USDCAD chart so I can keep that one. Boom. All right, cool. We'll go off here. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to start off higher real quick. See how the monthly chart has been acting from this time last year. So this has been about a year. And just looking at this year to now range on USDCAD, we just traded below the 50%. So we're on a monthly, we're in a monthly discount on CAD right now, sweeping underneath the open of the year as well, right? That's a good sign, right? Oh, we've been under the open of the year though. Open of the year was like right there. So we'll keep that in mind. Boom. 50% of the yearly range right now. We just traded below. So now we're in discount levels on CAD, sweeping sell side liquidity from the monthly, right? And we're in 50%. So this is all areas where monthly buyers could be anticipated to want something to do with the markets. Okay. You know, we got a weekly order block over here that was never traded back to. You can see they just impulse move higher, never really traded back to that order block. So I can kind of keep that in mind as well. From what date was that? September 22. Well, let me go back to the weekly, right? Going back to the weekly, just looking at from May, this was May 22nd right here. So that was just about a month ago, 20 days or so ago. And we are definitely in a discount of that range of time. But a premium of that range, let's go ahead and pay attention. We got weekly buy side liquidity located up there. So I'm gonna pay attention to that, just like we talked about on the dollar. I'm gonna pay attention to that. Boom. All right. Got a weekly fair value gap right here. And I'm gonna change this to red. And I'm gonna make this, I'm gonna put this discount thing back on the monthly so it's not in our way. All right, boom. So we're on a monthly discount. So I want to target lower time frame premiums, right? So we got this weekly fair value gap right here. Boom. I'll pay attention to that. Okay. Okay. So yeah, we'll keep that in mind. Let's go ahead and trade. Look a little bit lower, go down to the daily. Oh, I need this to pop up on all time frames. I told y'all I haven't looked at my chart, so I'm just I'm a little bit focusing, figuring it out a little bit. For the yearly on USDCAD or on the dollar? Can I show the range I identified for the yearly USDCAD? Okay, yeah. I just looked at the last 12 months. So it was this range I identified right here, from the low of June 2022 to the high of October 2022, right? That was kind of the range right there. The last 12 months, the high of the last 12 months and the low of the last 12 months. And I just identified that range right there. Okay, cool. And then I just hit it. I just like right clicked it and put visibility on this interval and above. So it stayed on the monthly and it wasn't in my way as I went down. All right, so now on the daily time frame, just to kind of pay attention, inside that weekly order block, we got a nice little fair value gap sitting right here, right on a daily. Okay, so I can keep that in mind. I'm gonna drag this out so we could see it where we're at right now on the daily. Like boom. Daily. Put that there so I know when that's from. Now, yo, I'm gonna tell y'all, September 2022 was an interesting times in the markets for sure. It was interesting time in the markets. I'm gonna show you guys why. If we go to like any chart, if you go to any chart from last year and you look at September 2022, no, my computer's acting ugly right now. Hold on, let me see if I could dump some stuff down. Let's close Brave browser. Oh yeah, I got a lot of Brave browser links open. Let's close some stuff out. Close. Yeah, let's close this. It's slowing us down. Course, of course, always a course. Let's close that down. Sorry guys, I don't know why I'm so thirsty. It's because the market's looking juicy. All right, so from September 2022, check this out. All right, September 2022. You can see that's when we formed the high on the US dollar, was September 22 of last year, right? Very interesting times. Any chart you go to, September 22 was a major reversal in the markets. So you can keep that in mind. And it's very interesting. The dollar was actually diverging from CAD back then, because dollar was giving the highest high and CAD gave the lowest low. And so that was a interesting little SMT divergence that was going on there. But going back to our CAD chart on a daily. All right, cool. So we traded right down to that fair value gap. It looks like to the top of that fair value gap. Does anybody know the name of a halfway point of a fair value gap? Does anybody know? Anybody? Going once, going twice. Halfway point of this fair value gap was right here. I don't know how to spell it, so if I try to put it on my chart, I'm just gonna hyphenate it so nobody judges me. Nope. Okay. Nobody knows. All right. So halfway point of a fair value gap, CE, consequent encroachment. Right. And that is kind of the lowest level that we would want to see the market trade to respect it, or, you know, it's a high level of resistance there. So we'll pay attention to that. Now, with this being said, let me go ahead and look at our range for the last week on the daily time frame right here. USDCAD is super bearish, by the way, super bearish, but has traded down to a monthly level. So I need some sort of I need a little bit more confirmations before I'm confident really taking buys out of these levels. So I'm just gonna have my eyes open on USDCAD. I'm not about to say just because we're at a monthly discount that the market will just, you know, I'm ready to take buys, but it's just time to be aware. You feel me? So like this was last week price action. This was last Monday right here. Anybody trade UCAD last week? Last Monday. And I'm seeing, and this is this Monday. All right, so we can keep that in mind. Yeah, but she's looking super bearish, like OD bearish. Let's go down to the 4 hour. All right, cool. So last week we saw UCAD high of the week here. Right. And then on Thursday, after dollar kind of gave that strong bullishness last Thursday, we saw UCAD just go ahead and give a aggressive move higher into this premium of the week, right, into this breaker, and then they sold off on Friday. Last week was not the prettiest to end the week. I mean, you could have really you could have had your opportunities from here on Wednesday, hit targets, and then really been out of there before, you know, before all this nonsense happened on Thursday night. But Thursday, Friday night, they did give a strong reaction alongside the dollar. But over this last 30 to 30 days or so on UCAD, which we identified from like right here, from the high up here, right now we are clearly in premium prices. When you look at this range from this high down to this low, all right, we are at below the 50% of that. So these are all, you know, premium on this time frame, or based on this range. So I'm going to pay attention to how they respect this low of last week, how they respond to that low of last week. Is potential that we see them fake under that low, right? We get some sort of aggressive push down, right? Maybe going into Tuesday with this 5 a.m. news, going into New York session, maybe the Wednesday, right? Maybe we see them drop down and accumulate, right? Or we just see them accumulate in this region in general, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and put that. We could see we got a fair value gap right here that we're inside of right now. But one thing that I'll notice is that they've already aggressively traded through the 50% point of this fair value gap, which was like right here. So it doesn't look like this fair value gap is it's not giving too strong. It's not giving too strong right now. But they are in the in the order block here, right, that I could see. This was that sell-off right here. Right, that's that sell-off. I'm gonna put on my gray box. Delete that fair value gap for right now, right? So we are seeing them inside of this order block. All right, they haven't traded down past the halfway point of the order block. So I'm gonna pay attention to this zone. I'm just gonna pay attention. That's all I'm gonna do right now. I'm just gonna pay attention. But as far as premium goes, this order block is something that I want to pay attention to, as well as the low of last week, which I'm gonna identify as sell side liquidity. Right, so if I see any type of I want to start to see bullishness on USDCAD. I don't really want to continue to see or seek sell opportunities here, so I'm just gonna wait and see if we get a fake out below the sell side liquidity here, or if we get a, you know, strong aggressive push down into this, you know, into this order block. This would be a beautiful retracement setup, actually. You know, we're in a discount on a higher time frame, and I said premium earlier. I apologize. We are in the discount of the last 20 days. We are at a discount level of the monthly. We're at a discount level of the weekly. We're at a discount level of the last 30 days. And then even if you look at this impulse move from last week, right, they dropped down into a level of discount, and then we got a strong impulse. And so now I want to look for the potential retracement down into another discount level, which is this order block. We're below the 50% of this impulse move, right? We're trading below the 50% of that in general, right? So like this is a really nice potential setup on USD CAD for bullishness. So, and you know, it could give a low risk situation where we don't even see them trade, you know, below this order block here. I mean, that is like 15 pips. All right, so we'll see what's gonna go on. But like I said, even if I see them start to try to shake underneath this sell side liquidity, I'm gonna look for to see displacement from there, and then I'll pay attention, right? But if I don't see that, then it's just gonna be a little bit longer of waiting that's gonna have to go on. And then even on an hourly time frame, you guys can see what they're inside of right now, inside of that order block. Right, they're inside of an hourly fair value gap, right here. This hourly fair value gap right there. Right, so that is what I'll be paying attention to on USDCAD. So let me actually write that down. USDCAD inside overlapping discount levels. And I'll look for some divergence. I'll look for some divergence as we go into that day. So yeah, that's USD CAD. Let's check out Euro. I do not like how my computer is acting to me right now. Let me X out some more stuff. Let me see. I can disconnect this. All right, so let's move on to Euro USD. And like I said, we'll focus on Euro USD, and I took a look at, so I said USD CAD, Euro USD, NASDAQ, and gold, of course, gold. Of course, gold. All right, so Euro USD. Yeah, I'm gonna just have to start over on Euro USD. So Euro USD. Going to the monthly, same thing, right? Same thing I'm going to pay attention to. Last 12 months. So June of last year here. And the low of the last 12 months was here. The high was here. And as of right now, we are trading above the 50% of that 12 months. All right, we're trading above the 50% of that, which would be from this low to this high. And it's like interesting because like if you were to try to shape a narrative of what people see, dollar hasn't raised their interest rates, everybody else is raising their interest rates. I would anticipate that other countries would see strength versus the dollar as on a fundamentals level, right? On a fundamental basis. So, you know, there's that. Now, I definitely could see the dollar drop, you know, continue to trade lower, like I said, but it's just the levels that we're at. I would want to see them trade up into that gap first. And I'm not even about to go to a lower time frame on the dollar right now. But yeah, I kind of already said that. So we can pay attention to that. But as far as the monthly goes, we saw the monthly trade up into this. It gives a bit of a liquidity void here. I mean, I know we have the wick on this side, but it doesn't look efficient to me, right? The level that they just traded in. So looks like they just kind of traded up into this level of that. And then on the other side, I can also see a bit of this being kind of like a breaker right here. Right, I can kind of see that being a bit of a trade, you know, sharp move down, right, before they, you know, went ahead and engulfed higher to come into this level of premium before they sold off. And like that's kind of where we're trading into right now. So that is, you know, that kind of catches my attention. And then if I were to just pay attention to, like, I know this is kind of like 2 years ago, like this is like 2 years of price action, but even if I were to look at this entire extension, you know, we're trading just above the 50% of those last 2 years. So that is something that can catch my attention, but maybe I see some divergence on Euro USD. That would be cool. Right, but just going down to the weekly now, paying attention to them trading up into that level, just looking at the last few weeks or so from about May 8th or May 30th, even if I'm just looking at the last 20 days, same as everything else, this was the low and this was the high, and again we're trading above the 50% here. Trading into near to this buy side liquidity right here, so I'll keep that in mind. Weekly buy side liquidity, right, so I'll pay attention to that. They did just trade above the liquidity levels over here as well on the weekly premium levels over here. They did trade above that, then we had a sharp move lower. And I've been noticing that since last week, but I mean, there's only so much I could do. And then we see that they did trade up into this fair value gap type of level on the weekly time frame. Even if I just kind of do it like that, and like same thing as I was saying on USDCAD, this candle doesn't really. I'm not really paying attention to that. I'm paying attention to this strong candle body, and then this, you know, strong candle body with this wick that comes up to here. That looks more of imbalanced price action to me. There's no candle bodies whatsoever, so I'm kind of that catches my eye. That's what stands out to me on Euro USD. And then we can see that they traded up into that. Here would be, you know, right here when they swept that buy side liquidities here. This would be kind of like the similar to what we saw on the other side, this gray box in general. That would be our breaker. I'm gonna just put a white box over that. Yep. And then, yeah, we saw them trade up into that, and then I got sharp movement down. Like that's a lot of sell side liquidity that came into the markets and brought us in, below to form a lower low than what we had last week in June. So yeah, let me see something here. Oh man, I gotta start restarting my computer. So in June we got higher highs being made on June and higher highs and higher lows being made here on Euro USD. So Euro USD has been slightly diverging from the dollar. So I'll keep that in mind as well. I'm still getting a lot better with my divergence, my smart money technique. I'm gonna just be honest. Yeah, we're still trading in premium levels. Indeed. We have not traded back down to discount. And like just looking at this on the monthly time frame, of course, like if I'm wanting to be, see buyers come in, then I want to see that come in from monthly discount areas, which would be maybe this fair value gap down here would be what catches my attention. All right, I'll be wanting to see them trading from there. We have an order block here that was never traded back to, right? So there's monthly discount levels that I would want to see them target now that they've traded up into these, almost yearly premiums, right? So I would want to see them do that. So just looking at, and even just like I said, just looking at this last 2-year time frame, I would want to see them trade down to this monthly discount for us to buy, up from there. So yeah, we're not there right now. Yeah, we're not there right now. We're currently at monthly premium, and so I'm paying attention to how they're in these premium areas and how they could trade down to, weekly or monthly discount levels. And when I look at those discount levels, it's down, into right here would be kind of the targets that my eyes see. Is them trading down into this right here. I could be wrong though. I could be wrong. And I'm not gonna lie, I have not been the most right on Euro USD the past week. So, but it does look like, because it's been trying to do its own thing just a little bit, but that just kind of gives me a little bit more confidence because of the bias. But just seasonality wise, I am paying attention to understanding more, this year as well, and seeing the way that these pairs respond going into July and Wednesday, July and August. But yeah, I could definitely see them rushing towards sell side levels if the dollar is going to be, move very strongly in one direction. So yeah, there's that. But yeah, they already came above this weekly buy side on a higher time frame, but that's right here, this little candle. They traded right up to that body. What was that last week pretty much? Traded right up to the, to these bodies, and then we saw displacement lower. So let's go back now over the last month. So from this low up to this high here, all right, again, same thing, weekly premium levels. And in that premium level, similar to USDCAD, or was it US dollar, before we had this bullish spike up, this was our order block that formed that, also known as a breaker block, right? Because it was the order block before we traded up into a liquidity level or a premium level, and then they sold off from there. So kind of paying attention to this entire move right here, right? And let me go to a higher time frame and keep this little box on that time frame so it's not confusing me. I might have to start using TradingView's website. Maybe it'll lag less. But yeah, if you on this and above, go down to the daily now so we have less clutter. So boom. All right. So I'm paying attention to that order block. slash breaker blocks, little premium block in the premium level. So open of last week was right here. Okay, and then we got this week right here. We got the high of last week up here, the low of last week right here. So we'll just mark that as our sell side right now. Keep my eye on that. And then if I drop down to my 4-hour time frame, and we just look from the high to the low of last week, if I want to see them trade into premiums of that, I just need to see them trade above, just above, or just to that 50% right here. All right, just up to that would be smooth. And that's, you know, this is that breaker that we want to see them trade into right there. We got a little fair value gap up here that we can pay attention to, right? Boom, boom, that we can pay attention to that. So let me put a little red box right here, 4-hour fair value gap. So again, same thing. If Euro USD were to give us sharp move higher, and then whichever one shows, you know, like SMT divergence, and we'll talk about that more going into the live sessions this week. Whichever one shows a divergence the most clearly is actually the best setup, is what I'm learning. So that's what we would pay, what I would execute on or pay the most attention to. So now looking at this hourly time frame, midnight would be in about 45 minutes. That'll set the tone for my open of the week. And I just want to see them give an aggressive trade higher. Let's assume this is going to be the weekly open right here for Monday, for midnight, right? If I see Monday, if I see them give us a aggressive, a push lower, right, below, you know, here, and then Tuesday I would want to, or even accumulation Tuesday, then I would ideally see them shoot up. All right, and then I would be looking for the kill zone here. All right, so ideally I would see them drop down just a bit lower, right, coming into Monday, and then Tuesday see the manipulation and then execute, and then be targeting the lows of the day like that, right? Even if we see something like this and we don't want to see them go up above that fair value gap, I mean, my stop loss probably be, you know, the stop loss could be right above the fair value gap. All right, we'll sharpen that up as we actually trade in the week. Now that could be a 15 pip stop, but even if we just said, right, 20 pip stop up there, and then we're targeting for at least 50 pips, right? 50 pips down to this level, right? On one order, a good 1 to 2. And then we could have a second order targeting the low. For 100 pips probably, right? We want to get 100 on that one. And that would be a smooth 1 to 5 if that lines up. So that's what I'll be paying attention to potentially on Euro USD. Like I said, USDCAD, I need to see just a little bit more, but Euro is already giving me lower lows. They're in premiums. The narrative on the news, like they have higher interest rates than the dollar, so you would expect them to raise versus the dollar, right? The retail narrative just fits Euro USD being bullish. So I like, again, to read the room, see what everybody would probably be thinking, and I want to go the opposite, just to be honest. So let me go ahead and send this in the market weekly watch list. And we'll do like that. Paying attention to that. And we say it like so. All right. Well, I guess I'll leave that on my chart. So yeah, that's what I'm anticipating when it comes to Euro USD for this week. That's what I'm anticipating Gold gave us a bit of a spin this last week. Nothing crazy. I mean, nothing. We wasn't expecting nothing crazy from her. So we're gonna do gold, and I'll focus on NAS on the live session, guys. I'm not gonna do NAS tonight, but we'll focus on NAS on the live session. All right, so gold. I mean, we've talked about this so many times over the last few, right? I mean, from last year, we can see gold gave us highs, right? All-time highs last March, just about, and came down, traded down to the level down here. And I mean, from the last 12 months in general, which was right about here, was June. So from here to here, this was the low of that range, and this was the high, and we're currently trading in the premiums of that. So we are looking for sells opportunity. We're looking for sell opportunities to come in, and we did see them already trade above the all-time highs, not just monthly buy side liquidity, but all-time highs up there. If we use the body of the candle, then we can already see what was going on with the body of the candle. We saw them leave us a order block right here, and if this is red, that means I'm paying attention to premium zones, and I'm gonna just go ahead and make this the line and get rid of that, because I don't want you to pay attention to the fib levels. I'm just using the 50% for the equilibrium. That's all. For the halfway of all that. So I can see, boom, our order block right here. Right, and that was April order block. All right, we already saw them trade up into that right here in June, and then start to reject away. So yeah, that part. Now we would look for them to target weekly discount levels, which next I guess would be under that red line there, would be our discount levels, and we can see some sell side liquidity here from February's lows. Yeah, that's February's lows. I mean, that's pretty much the yearly lows, right? So February lows, yearly lows. So I'm gonna put that like so. Tiffle and above. So yeah, that's what I'm paying attention to. And if I just look at this last month or so, which we already identified from the high here to the low here, I mean, clearly we're in some type of week, like the discounts of the last weekly level. So I would love to see them break through this discount, this fair value gap here, if we want to see them trade to these weekly discount levels under here from the last year or so. But just looking at these last 30 days, 30, 20, 30, 40 days or so, let's see, where's that? So this was this was May 22nd, just about right there. So that was the high. This is the low. So we are trading in a discount of the last few weeks. We are trading at a underneath the 50% of that, and into a higher time frame fair value gap. So we could see some rejection from here now that they've traded down into it, but it would just bring us back up above maybe potentially that 50%. And again, I would just be looking for sell opportunities from them trading up into a premium of that range, right? Which would be, I could see an order block right here above that 50%. So that catches my attention. rid of this now. All right, so yeah, I mean, weekly order block right there. So I would want to see gold trade up into this in some shape or form, and then I could pay attention a little bit more to what they got going on. But for right now, I think this was last Monday right here. All right, and then this is today. This is this Monday. All right, let me go down to the 4 hour. Well, okay. Go back to the daily real quick. And I mean, I think that weekly order block kind of just, it gives us what I should pay attention to. Which was right here. Yeah, that's that weekly order block. I think that's where I need to pay attention to. All right, clearly on a daily time frame, we do have a fair value gap right here, but that fair value gap is still below the 50%. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them raise up and through there. Got a bit of a volume imbalance up here that looks a little bit juicier to me, right? Just this ugly, just no real anything there. But we can annotate this for now, right? I can annotate this for now just to have it in mind. But yeah, where it was last week's. Yeah, I want to see them trade up. Well, I mean, I guess it was just so choppy last week. My goodness, it was so choppy. Not even last week. I guess the whole month of June, it was just so choppy. And then we saw them go ahead and give this impulse move lower. So we want to see some type of retracement. I mean, this here, nice little breaker block that took us higher before they did that sell-off. So I guess this fair value gap, we could pay attention to that as well, even though it's not as much in premium levels as I would want it to be. Like I said, when I look at the weekly time frame, in the last 20 days, I mean, we could go off, you know, just this month of June here, from this high to this low, and I guess from this high here down to this low, that would bring them above 50%, taking us up into that. So I guess I could play fair like that, right? Just paying attention to that breaker block as well. So there's a couple different levels. It would really depend on the time of day and what's going on to converge with it, that I would pay attention to the most. So yeah, I could see potentially paying attention to that 1940 level on gold. Yeah, I could definitely see us paying attention to that. Go down to the 4 hour. Got an even clearer fair value gap on the 4 hour right there. Just absolutely freaking gorgeous. And then of course targeting the last week's lows down here, right? On some short-term trade type stuff. Last week's lows. So yeah, we could pay attention to that. Okay. So yeah, that's what I see on gold. And of course, we already talked about, right? Seeing them trade down into, you know, trade down below the discount here, which I'll put this on all time frames. And I'll change the color to blue. And I'll annotate this as yearly 50%. Right, and that would take us down below the discount. But overall, seeing them start to sell off towards that 1810 level, and if we see that start to happen, then we could just continuously look for potential sell-offs on the way to that level, as long as everything continues to stay that way. So that is that's what I see on gold, right? And if that was a opportunity in itself right there, to see them trade above the weekly open or trade down below the weekly open a bit and then trade up to this fair value gap, it's a lot of pips. I mean, it's like 200 pips hot to the high side. So who knows? We'll see if they make that move. We shall see if they make that move. But if they were to respect that fair value gap, that would be smooth. Right? Yeah, that could be a smooth opportunity. But I'm going to wait until we get a little bit closer to it. So we'll annotate that again in live sessions as we continue. But that is what I am seeing. How long we've been running? Hour and 10 minutes. Yeah, that's what I'm seeing on them things. Let me see in the chat. Anybody in the chat? No. Volume imbalance. Yeah, volume imbalance being somewhere that there was no candle body, just wicks. Do I have any examples? Right, so like a gap, but it has wicks there. Like this right here is the closest thing I can find right now to a volume imbalance. Right, we have wick here, we have wick here, so that in itself right there, that little sliver is a volume imbalance. And if you drag it all the way to the other side, you can see how price traded back up, right? Or how we broke it here and traded right back up to it there, or how it traded above that area and then they left it and then they came back and they traded right back to it here on this Thursday. So yeah, it creates, it's like another form of a liquidity void, you know, fair value gap, liquidity void, volume imbalance, opening gap, right? So another version of that. So yeah, those are the things I'm seeing on them things. And y'all already know I'm ready to see NASDAQ fall out the sky. Y'all know I'm ready for that, man. But patience, young grasshopper, patience. You can't just be ready to catch stuff from the sky all the time, Maverick. So again, last year we are at all-time high. Well, not all-time, but we're at highs of the range from last June, right? Because the last June was right here of last year, right? And this was the low, and currently we are creating those highs. Those highs took us above these monthly buy-side liquidity levels right here. Would that be a volume imbalance? No, that wouldn't be. That's not what I'm looking for. But yeah, took us up above that. So we are definitely at premium levels. Even just looking at the last, same thing as Euro USD, last 2 years, we are at premium levels, heavily above the 50% of this, trading above buy-side liquidity here, like just very atrocious. Right, so we are at premium levels, taking the buy side liquidity here on a higher time frame on NASDAQ, but higher time frame get a little bit boring on NASDAQ because she be doing what she want for a while. So let's look at the last 30 days, right? So based on the last 30 days, got a low here, high here. We can see we're at premium levels right now. This is the 50%. We're at premium levels of the higher time frame. We're at premium levels of the last 30 days. All right. Paying attention to where the discount levels are. We haven't traded down back into those yet. So on the weekly, I could see boom, weekly order block right here. All right, but for right now, we could just say boom, we got this little fair value gap because it's so bullish. Let's take it one level at a time, right? So boom, we got this little fair value gap on the daily that is below the 50% of the month, right? Because the month started right here. Month started right here. Yeah, this was the open of the month. And of course we got double bottoms here, all type of action going on. But for right now, we can just target that little fair value gap, okay? Because NASDAQ want to be so freaking bullish. All right, we could pay attention to that. Go down to my 4 hour and just pay attention to Same thing, right? Last Monday was right here. Bang. This Monday is right here. Bang. Last week's order block was right here. And they already traded back up into that thing and then fell off from it, right? So I guess we could pay attention more to, I'm gonna pay attention to a buy side level, daily buy side or buy side in general. High of last week down to the low of last week. We are trading below the 50%, but coming back up into that. We do got this little massive bullish candle. Maybe on the 1 hour we'll see a breaker or some short, which they already traded to end the week last week. That little candle. Oh no. Right. And we can see for the past couple of weeks or so, we have seen bearish price action coming in, lower lows, lower highs, traded down to the discount, came back up to premium, gave a buy side liquidity here, dropped down, traded back up to the breaker, and then they sold back to discount, came from discount, traded back up to the premium, rejected from the premium, came back to discount, rejected from the discount order block, traded back up to premium. Now we're in this fair value gap, right? So just paying attention to the times, similar to the other opportunities that I put down, but you know, I'm not as I'm still getting stronger at indexes. That's what I'll say. I'm still getting stronger at indexes, but yeah, I'm seeing them trade back above the 50% of last week. Can pay attention to this breaker here. Buy side liquidity here. Clearly we got some buy side liquidity here. We got this fair value gap chilling up here that we can pay attention to, right? So just seeing them seek out premium so that they can go ahead and attack these discount levels, right? Sell side liquidity. That's the all that I can peep right now. And this, of course, a higher time frame fair value gap down there. Well, we wouldn't even need all that if we catch a sell opportunity on NASDAQ this week. So just paying attention to same thing, right? Do we open up the week consolidative, or do we open up the week with a bit of a push down on Monday, and then Tuesday going into New York session we see some type of run on these highs, liquidity here? Do we see them trade up into this fair value gap? And if we do, on a lower time frame, 15-minute, do we see a regression lower? But my favorite setup of today was Euro USD for sure. But again, going into market Q&A tomorrow that we'll be doing in the Traders Guild, we'll dive more into that. But those are the setups that I'm paying attention to this week. I think that we are definitely in key levels as far as the market goes, and we're about to close off the month, so we want to pay attention to where does the market want to deliver to finish off this monthly candle, right? So we'll be diving more into that on the Traders Guild channel. I have a lot of YouTube videos queued to go ahead and release, so you guys can go ahead and subscribe to our channel. If you got, if you tapped into this market outlook on YouTube and you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. Follow us on Instagram at the Real Traders Guild on Instagram. Participate in our 10K giveaway, and if you want to be able to participate in these sessions live, not just catch the recordings on YouTube, you can join our free Discord below. And if you want to participate in our live trading sessions throughout the week, get hands-on coaching, Q&A sessions twice a week, go ahead and join the Traders Guild. You can click the link below, take it to our landing page, to our website. Only $50 a month for right now, until we go ahead and close out the open access, right? So for right now, the community is open access, but going into the third quarter of this year, it will not be so anymore, right? So like I said, you can go ahead and get, join us. And if not, at least go ahead and subscribe, leave a like below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Appreciate it.